I'm back. Mr. Clarke's back. Time to take a look at 14.4, the unification of Italy. Some of the key objectives that we'll focus in on as we look at the unification of Italy is the obstacles that the Italians face as they attempt to unite together. We'll evaluate the roles played by Cavour, Garibaldi, and Mazzini. We'll describe the challenges they faced within the new nation of Italy. And this is going to be a somewhat similar situation to what we had looked at previously when we looked at the unification of Germany, as we're going to see independent Italian states be brought together into a greater collective Italy. One, when leaders met at the Congress of Vienna, and once again, everything kind of goes back to the Congress of Vienna. That was kind of the movement to restore a lot of the monarchies into power. They want to see people kind of come back together as larger states. So we saw here Clemens von Metternich kind of reacted a little bit negatively to the goal of a united Italy. He said it was humorous, stating that Italy was merely a geographical expression, not a country. So in some ways, the Congress of Vienna challenged groups and regional states to see if they can actually meet that broad goal of coming together. So we think about Italy as a splintered area for a long period of time. We can take a look at a map here. So as you can see here, Italy obviously has a unique shape. So anytime you see Italy on the map, you should be able to quite obviously recognize it. So how is Italy splintered? Well, people of Florence consider themselves Tuscans. People of Venice were Venetians in this area here. And then we have people of Naples as Neapolitans. In order for Italy to have any hope of being united, what did the Tuscans and Venetians and Neapolitans need to call themselves? It was very simple. Italians. They no longer had to kind of look at themselves individually. So you think of ourselves here living in New Jersey. So you look at yourself first as an American, as a New Jerseyan second. 4, who sparked a new nationalist spirit in Italy? Napoleon Bonaparte. So we saw Napoleon a little bit in our discussion of the unification of Germany. We're seeing him here again pop up in Italy. So he had a long-lasting influence, not just in France, but throughout all of Europe. Who started the Italian nationalist group Young Italy? Giuseppe Mazzini. So we'll see multiple Giuseppes here, very common name back during this period of time in Italy. So Mazzini, he told great stories of how Italy was the greatest, the Holy Roman Empire, the Renaissance, emphasizing that Italians needed to be great again. They needed leaders to kind of emerge so that Italy could, reclaim its spot in Europe as kind of a powerful country. 7, what did Giuseppe Mazzini mean by this quote? Ideas grow quickly when watered by the blood of martyrs. Well, a martyr is somebody who gives their life for a cause. Mazzini is saying that while revolutions may fail, revolutionary ideas are planted for generations to act upon. So what were Mazzini's methods? Education and revolutions, constitutional monarchies were seen as only a stopgap. They hoped that publicity and propaganda could help create revolutionary classes and ideas, sought support from the young, educated middle class, and they wanted to see Italy drive out the Austrians from Italian lands. 8 lists the geographic, cultural, and economic reasons behind Italian unification. Geographic, the regions of Italy were on the same peninsula. The peninsula, of course, surrounded is a piece of land surrounded on water by 3 sides. Culturally, they had common language, shared tradition, shared religion. Economically, the unification would end trade barriers among Italian states and promote industrialization. We looked at the Germans, who had initially, even before being fully united together, they removed a lot of those trade barriers and tariffs between the different German states, and Italy was moving forward with very similar goals. 9. What was the Risorgimento in Italy? This is a movement for resurgence of Italian unity. It organized revolutionaries in hopes of uniting all of Italy together again. And lastly, they realized that fiery words, noble thoughts, and brave patriots were not enough to win independence. You can see the Risorgimento in 1859, the Second Italian War of Independence. What reforms did Camillo Cavour implement to strengthen and improve Sardinia? He worked with infrastructure, building the railroads up. He improved agriculture, industry, encouraged free trade. All of these are areas of interest in regard to building up and strengthening Sardinia as part of hopefully a greater Italy. What alliances did Cavour reach in the 1850s? Sardinia became an ally of France and Great Britain. Together, these three nations would fight against Russia. This would be during the Crimean War. This brought additional prestige because if you're treated as an equal by France and Great Britain, a country or group that's respected enough to form an alliance with, then of course that is something that brought a great deal of pride to Cavour and the Sardinian people. What were the provisions of a secret treaty between Cavour and Napoleon III of France? Cavour and Napoleon III of France promised to support Sardinia in case of a war with Austria. In return for driving Austria out of Italy, France could get some of the border states that were controlled by Austria, including Nice and Savoy. 13, how did the war break out between Sardinia and Austria? After securing this said alliance with France, Cavour provoked Austria into declaring war on Sardinia in April of 1859. We often discuss how alliances can create a more dangerous situation. This is clearly a good example of that. Sardinia, knowing they had the support of the ally in France, which is a strong country, they were much more confident to attack Austria. Without the support of France, they probably would have been hesitant to do so. 14, what action did Napoleon III take when the war broke out? He kept his promise. He came to the aid of Sardinia and helped them versus Austria. So not only did they have an alliance, he actually made an alliance with what turned out to be a trustworthy person. Just because you make an alliance does not necessarily mean that the country is going to honor its alliance. I mean, it's not directly obligated to do so. And of course, if they don't, they'll lose their credibility. But at the same point in time, often countries go back on their promises. 15, compare and contrast the views of Cavour, Mazzini, and Garibaldi. Well, all three had the collective goal of uniting Italy together. Cavour was kind of a monarchist. He was very practical in his approach, following Otto von Bismarck's idea of realpolitik or practical politics. Mazzini and Garibaldi they were nationalists who wanted to create an Italian republic. 16, why did Garibaldi give Naples and Sicily to Victor Emmanuel? It was kind of a patriotic move. It helped to unite Italy together. More importantly, Garibaldi then created his own Italian republic in the south. He was working towards the broader goal of a united Italy. So he could have taken control of a particular region of Italy and kind of governed and led himself. But instead, he kind of sacrificed that land towards the greater Italian good and towards his unification cause. 17, why did Sardinia ally itself first with France and then later on with Prussia against France? So kind of some hypocrisy here. Sardinia, led by Cavour, had aligned with France initially to gain the region of Lombardy from the Austrian Empire. After Cavour's death, Italy formed an alliance with Prussia in the Austro-Prussian War and won the province of Venetia. During the Franco-Prussian War, France was forced to withdraw its troops from Rome. When did Italy reach its unification? When was unification officially complete and all of Italy together? In 1870, Rome's citizens voted to join the Kingdom of Italy, and all of Italy was united. Roughly around the same time as Germany. Germany was united in 1871 and Italy in 1870, so basically the same point in time. So for the first time since the fall of the Roman Empire, Italy was once again a united land. In 19, compare and contrast the regional differences of northern and southern Italy. Northern Italy was urban, wealthier, more industrial, higher culture. Southern Italy, a little poorer, a little more rural, a little less educated. Both had a common language, religion, and traditions, the history of the Roman Empire. the Italian government tried to contain political unrest in the late 1800s. Government extended suffrage to more men and passed laws to improve social conditions in order to distract unhappy Italians. The government set out to win an overseas empire, including taking over Ethiopia. One had Italy's economy and society develop after 1900. Industry developed in northern Italy. Many citizens moved to cities in search of jobs in Italian factories. And then finally, the lesson reflection was Italian unification inevitable. Rich traditions, common history, language, and culture would dictate that it's most likely that Italian unification was inevitable. A little timeline here. So in 1805, Napoleon I, the original Napoleon Bonaparte, crowned himself King of Italy. 1831, Young Italy, founded by Mazzini. 1848, Charles Albert invades Lombardy, Union of Venetia and Piedmont declared soon thereafter. 1849, Charles Albert abdicates in favor of Victor Emmanuel II. Keep that name, Victor Emmanuel, in the back of your mind. We'll learn a little bit more about Victor Emmanuel III when we look at World War II. Cavour becomes prime minister in Sardinia and Piedmont in 1850. In 1857, war between Austria and Sardinia, Piedmont, and France gives Sardinia gains such as Lombardy. 1861, Garibaldi invades Sicily and Italy. 1861, Kingdom of Italy proclaimed. And then in 1871, Italian troops occupy Rome. French abandons the city. In 1871, July, Rome made capital of the kingdom, and Italy is officially united. Hopefully you enjoyed our discussion on the unification of Italy. Until next time, Mr. Clarke is out.